anxiety manifest into? Negative thoughts, negative images. I'm not going to do well. That person don't like me. No one likes me. That's why they left. That's why they died. Or that's what the bad thing happened because of me. The anxiety starts to creep in. And what I hear a lot is, I don't feel confident. I don't feel confident in myself after the grief, the sadness. And the lack of confidence breeds anxiety. So yes, again, we all feel it. We all experience it. We all worry. But to what extent do you worry? To what extent do you worry? Feeling nervous, restless, tense, having a sense of impending danger, panic, or doom. That's what I get. People who cannot get out of the panic or doom. And it comes and goes, and it could be triggers. And triggers are, smell, taste, sound, a memory of that grief, of that depression, of that sadness, and now I'm back into worrying and fear. So how do we get out of it? How do we overcome? First, we have to acknowledge it. We have to acknowledge the feeling, acknowledge the sound, acknowledge the smell of depression, because there are smells of depression. When you're sleeping for 5 days, you're sleeping, can't get out of bed, you're frustrated, your mood changes, you got mood swings, you know the symptoms. But I like to say today, change my story. You can change your story. And how do I change my story? Acknowledging. Talking to someone about you and your story. Talking to yourself. We grew up hearing, don't talk to yourself. We did. I'm 54. My grandmother said, don't talk to yourself. Well, how are you going to solve your problems? The answers I learned in my 33 years doing this work are within me. Every answer. When I teach people that, they know. I'm going to say, well, what would you think? And it'd be the right answer. We don't talk to ourselves enough, and we don't answer ourselves enough. It's okay. It's okay to do that. Ask yourself questions. Like, what do I want to tell myself today? Because the story I've been telling myself was from my generational trauma. Because anxiety doesn't just come from grief and depression, it comes from generational trauma. And I think people get that generational trauma thing mixed up. It's not about slavery. It's a part of it. It's about what our parents, grandparents passed on to us in respect to how we care and love ourselves. And how we were loved. And how we were loved, how we were loved is how we will love other people. So if I was loved like a rag doll, I'm going to love someone like a rag doll. And I think most of the people that I've worked with, the epiphany happened for them when they realized it wasn't their fault. It was generational trauma. They were stepping out and normalizing behaviors that they witnessed. Part of depression, part of sadness. Change the story. Most of us stay with the story from the trauma, from the grief. He left, she left, they left. That's a real story. I think we really think about the trauma like grief as only in death. We don't look at grief in emotional abandonment. Emotional abandonment. I got people who got two parents in the home, and they raising themselves. And it's not because of the story of when love and They don't love me. It's people don't know how to love and let go. So the generational trauma, the anxiety, the grief, the depression, builds a fake story. She's changing her story. I want people who work with me, they know the first thing I say is transformation. We're changing your story that you believed for so long about yourself. And what does that mean? Overcoming grief means, let's honor the memory. In my home office, I got a giant-sized picture of my mother, my sister, and my grandmother. Giant poster. I honor those three women. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for those three women. They want me to sit and cry? I did. But they want more from me. My grandmother was the rock. My sister was my cheerleader, and my mom was everything. And they are gone. And I have to accept it, but I honor them. We have to learn how to honor the loss. Even if he left, or she left, or mom left, or dad left. How do we honor that memory? I always say honor the child that survived. Honor the child that survived. If that person left you, honor the child. Go back to that child picture and say, you survived, and I thank you. I honor you. And I'm going to bring you up to today so I can start loving myself. And stop holding my parents to that place. Let's cherish the person and not stay stuck. If they lost, and if they left, let's cherish ourselves. Let's love ourselves. Let's stop looking for it out there. I do say abandonment makes us want to look for love outside. It just do. It's like a hole in your stomach. It's like you're missing something and you don't know what you're missing. Just eating, you don't know why you're eating. Not even hungry. It's the hole of abandonment that causes anxiety and stress and depression. So we have to acknowledge it. Let's cherish the person or ourselves. Let's respect their wishes or respect our own. And put boundaries up. If they were an abuser or abandoner, a person that abandoned you. Let's respect our own selves and put up boundaries so we won't get hurt anymore. And stay in those hurt places. So to overcome grief, we got to start honoring the memory or honor ourselves. Cherish the person or cherish ourselves. You got a choice. And respect their wishes or respect your own and put up boundaries if you have to. If that person is trying to get in your life and you're not ready. And I say respect or cherish yourself because if someone left, even in a relationship, I want to respect myself enough to move on to the next person. I really mean that. Because people get left in relationships and they feel their life is over. That's when we have to start loving ourselves more. I want to love me enough to want to live and move on. So even if they left, they didn't take me with them. Overcoming depression. Again, let's acknowledge it. Let's take care of it. Let's control it. I am not sad today. I'm going to do what Dr. Linehan says and switch it and do the opposite and say, I will be happy today. Because in reality, no one can bring us happiness. They add to our own happiness. When we meet people, when we fall in love with people, we're supposed to be doing the boogie dance and they're just coming out and doing it with us. They don't come and they don't make us. They don't make us. They add to us. So a lot of times when we're in depression about somebody left, it's the wrong ideology about relationships. Because the human nature of life is to grow. Kids leave. They're supposed to. Some relationships just don't work. And I love when those people go, you know what, Miss Rana, I don't know why I spent 5 years worrying about that person. I love that comment. But that 5 years is rough, watching somebody in that much pain. Because we haven't fully learned how to love ourselves. So let's overcome. Let's take care of it. Let's acknowledge it. I'm depressed. I'm sad. I ain't got nobody. I ain't got no money. Whatever is happening, let's acknowledge it. And then let's take care of it. Let's work on it. And let's control it. And controlling it means stopping the negative thoughts. The negative thoughts, I'm telling you, they're heavy. And shaking your head, don't push them away. They don't work. Drinking, oh my gosh, doesn't work. Vaping, doesn't go. You gotta go, okay, why do you keep coming to me? I'm not that person anymore, or I don't want to be that person, or whatever. You gotta challenge that thought. Talk to the thought. So I'm not that person anymore. My past won't dictate my future. My parents' life won't dictate my life. My man, my woman, my friend life won't dictate my life. Because when we do that, we're depressed. We're depressed. We have a lot of things to be depressed about in this country. Don't add stuff by adding the story. Change the story. Overcoming anxiety. Again, let's acknowledge it. Acknowledge the fear. Well, what am I afraid of? See, that's the negative thoughts. Because when you get to my age, you're like, damn, why was I always scared? When you get to my age, amazing. When you get to 54, you really start to say, why was I always scared? I was always scared. Even to the joke my husband was saying, your fear is it's like a rat. Like, you scared like a rat. Like, what? That was a joke when we got married 28 years ago. Like, you're just always nervous and scared. It was anxiety. It's the negative thoughts. And I had to ask myself, what was I afraid of? And it was a lot of things. It was a lot of things I was afraid of. And looking back now, I'm so glad I worked on that. Because I would have never got as far as I got if I didn't work on that fear and worry that I'm not going to succeed. I used to never understand that Nike commercial when I was a kid. Just do it. I was like, why is he saying that? What does that mean? What do you mean just do it? What they meant was, don't think about it, just do it. They should have added that line. I want to write Nike. I always have to write Nike because I needed that extra piece of saying, don't think about it, just do it. I couldn't figure it out. I understand it now. I understand just do it. Stop letting the fear and the worry stop you. And people can sniff it out until you're scared, huh? And anyone's go, you ain't got to go do that. Don't do that. They ain't going to read it anyway. What you going to do that for? Don't let the fear, don't let that control you. Let's control it. Stop it. I cannot control nothing but me. So when I get scared and fear, I shouldn't be worried about me and my higher power. That's what I'm afraid of now. I'm afraid of me and my higher power. Here's story will be different. And our first guest who want to speak today on that story being different is Miss Paula Pope. She goes that Paula Pope I met 3 years ago, an amazing artist who wanted to be an artist. She wanted to be a fashion designer. Shopping at 21, I'm like, everybody tell me that. Everybody said they're gonna be a fashion designer. I'm just keeping it real. Everybody tell me that. And she was like, no, I'm gonna do this. I was like, all right, let's see. I even told her, I don't think you're a good fit for the work I'm doing because you may not transform, you know? And she called me and said, what? I don't want nobody else. And she transformed. Again, give it up. She designs clothes. I'm going to stop right there.
Hi, y'all. Okay. Okay, so this is so funny because I thought I was going to be able to prepare for this moment, but you really don't. So I'm just winging it. So just walk with me, y'all. So she's right. Like, I actually did seek her out when I was 21 years old. I don't have to tell me exactly. But I did seek her out when I was 21. I was just young, ambitious, and wanting more for myself, for real. And I didn't really have like that many people around me to show me, you know, what to do next or how can I get to where I want to be. So I said, you know what, I'm gonna have to figure it out, for real. Right? I grew up really just having to, you know, figure stuff out. Right? So I woke up one day and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna go to therapy. So I looked for a therapist and I just searched, like, you know, Black female Christian therapist, and she popped up, and a few others popped up too. But it's crazy because, like, I think I left like 2 or 3 voicemails for different therapists. She was the only one that called me back. And we had did like a consultation, and I was like nervous that she wasn't gonna take me on for it. I'm like, child, we hadn't felt going on. I was like a little nervous, but when we actually ended up doing the consultation, it was cool. Like, she was like, yeah, like, you know, alright. But then she did try to hit me with the, I don't know, the little oldie wobby. So I'm like, oh nah. But we ended up, you know, we stuck it out. And she's really actually been able to see me like transform through a lot. Like I said, I was 21, I'm 25 now. Milestones. Whew, don't tell nobody. But you know, being 21 years old, like, you have a completely different mindset from when you're 25. Like, I was just getting out of college, like just trying to figure out what I wanted to do with myself, what I wanted to do with my life. Like I said, I just really needed that guidance, so I just started out. Like I said, like, she really has been able to see me through a lot. And especially with a lot of these topics, like grief, anxiety, depression. Like I said, I'm also having some anxiety right now. I don't know why, because I think doing public speaking would be cool, but I don't know. But she had definitely saw me through all of these things, you know, and like, I think the thing that has really helped me overcome a lot is stopping myself in negative thoughts. Like, a lot of times I be experiencing stuff, and I just be like, I'm so aggravated. Like, I'm just aggravated. And like, I learned quickly with her that you have 17 seconds to produce. Like, once you think of something, you have 17 seconds to produce another thought. So you have 17 seconds to change your mind, to change your thought, you know? So it's like, if you think of something negative and you're constantly building on negativity, it's just gonna bring more negativity, you know? So I realized that, you know, and just stopping myself in my tracks, like having a bad day, having negative thoughts, and just really having to tell myself, like, you're gonna be okay, you know what I mean? It's not as bad as you think, you know, it's always tomorrow, and you know, things like that. So I really had to use certain tools, you know, that she equipped me with, you know, to like really just get me through my, you know, get me through my emotions and stuff like that. As far as grief, she has spoke on like losing people and not necessarily, you know, them passing away or something like that. You know, like, as you grow up, like, you go through this process of losing loved ones, losing friends, outgrowing things. Like, when you're really in the process of healing and doing the work, you know, it's not always cute. Like, it's not always sunshines and rainbows on the other side. Like sometimes you have to sit with yourself. Like you have to dig deep. Like you have to acknowledge, you know, the things that hurt you, the things that mold you, the things that shape you, you know, the things that you choose to add to your life or bring into your life to build your life. You know, so she has like definitely seen me through a lot of grief. I had lost both of my grandmothers within like 6 months, and that was tough. Like, you know, it's tough. Like, you gotta find ways to work through stuff and, you know, just like build yourself back up and, you know, figure it out. And as I said before, like, just growing up, I was just always like a figure it out kind of kid. Like, I just had to figure it out. So, she has definitely seen me through, you know, lots of processes. I do struggle with anxiety a lot. I don't really know why, but like, I feel like sometimes I get in rooms and I like float around comfortable and it's fine, you know, but like sometimes I'm in rooms and I'm like, stressed out. I don't even know why I'm stressed out. Like I'm just in rooms barely breathing. And that's another thing I learned how to do. Like I learned to read. Like I just learned to like be like, all right, just take a second. You know what I mean? Take it in. Take whatever you're feeling in, and then just breathe it out. And it sounds simple, but it worked for real. Like 4 seconds in, hold it for 7 seconds, breathe out for 8 seconds. Like it really does, you know, help your body kind of like shift back into gears. So she has definitely seen me through all of these topics that she's talking about. And it's just so important to really like do the work. Like so many people just like to look like they're doing the work. So many people like to just kind of like put on like this front, you know, and doing the work doesn't look a specific way. It's just something that you know within yourself. You know, it's something that you talk about with you and your God, whatever you know, whatever you believe in, you know. And doing the work a lot of times requires you to be by yourself. You have to be comfortable with sitting with yourself, and not really being worried about what people see when they look at you. You know what I mean? Just more so about how you feel about yourself when you lay down with yourself at night, because that's really all that matters. So it's really, really important to, you know, just acknowledge the things that you feel like is holding you back, or just things in general that you want to change. Like if you decide that you wake up today and decide like I don't want to be who I was yesterday, that's cool. You know, like rebrand yourself. Like be comfortable with deciding that you no longer want certain things for your life. Like be comfortable with your growth. Be comfortable with knowing like, okay, I was that yesterday, but I'm this today. You know, and because that's all that matters at the end of the day. You know, like when you're growing and you're actually on your journey, you're gonna lose people. You're gonna, especially people that aren't doing the work. You know, like there are so many people in our community that will acknowledge that they have issues, but not take the action to fix their issues. Like so many people will say like, oh, I know I be having this going on. I know I be doing this. I know I be doing that. You know, and then like when you suggest the help, it's like, oh, I don't need to go. And the reality is you do. Like if you can sit with yourself and realize that you have certain problems or you have things about yourself that you want to change, start there. Like it ain't nothing wrong with that. I literally wake up every day. I'm a new girl every day. Thank you God. For real. I wake up every day.
How did you get to that point though, from the 21-year-old on the phone calling a stranger for help to Buffalo Fashion Week and went viral? Like, and that was this year and last year, Buffalo Fashion Week.
Honestly, I feel like discipline. Like I chose this life, you know what I mean? Like I chose this route. You know, I chose to go the route of doing the work. So I just woke up every day and just kept choosing it. You know, because a lot of what doing the work is about choices. You know, like she said, like none of this, like depression and grief and anxiety, it's not just like no slap on the face. That thing can tussle. You know what I mean? Like, for real, it's like you wake up some days feeling good, and you wake up other days feeling defeated. You know, so you have to have a routine. You have to have some kind of discipline. You know, you have to have some type of motivation. You gotta wake up and tell yourself, like today, like she said, like today gonna be a great day. Today I'm gonna accomplish this. Small things, like making your bed every day. You know, like I read a book called The Monk That Sold His Ferrari. And one of the things in that book was about doing small things like making your bed up. get out of your bed, because once you start to accomplish small things, you'll start to accomplish big things. And I try my best to make sure that I'm not overwhelming myself, and I'm just taking on the things that I know that I can handle, you know, one thing at a time. And that's part of my discipline, it's part of my routine, like, because sometimes I be having stuff coming this way, that way, up, down, underneath, so I just be trying to find ways to just take stuff one at a time. Like, I'm just a girl. You know?
I do wanted to say though, why at 21, which I normally don't get called at a person 21 unless their parents calling for them. What made you different to call at 21 versus your, you know, was your friends calling therapists at that time or something that you knew about?
I had actually, when I was 21, I actually only had one friend that was in therapy at the time. But the reason, I think the thing that just made me call is, I just grew up in a house where I had to grow up by myself for real. Like, I ain't have too many people saying like, oh, let's do this, let's go this road. Like, let me hold your hand and walk you through this, let me walk you through that. Like, I do have an older brother, but he's always been my big little brother. Shout out to my big little brother. You know, and it was just certain things, you know, that I lacked in my household. And I woke up and just realized that I really wanted more for myself. And I just didn't know where to start. And I was like, you know what? I'm gonna just get some help. For real. Like, I woke up one day and was like, I'm gonna just get some help. Like, cause I need some help. You know, so that was pretty much it.
And that's what I mean by your story will be different. How the story is changed. Her story changed from when she decided to call and stay almost 3.5 years. And have success, and have more success coming. I already see it. It's already in the making. She's already signed up for things. And this is not the story of the kid at 21 who wanted to buy a gold chain. I gotta put that out there. She said, I should buy a gold chain or should I become a fashion designer? Or something like that. Yeah. Get the gold chain.
Well, actually, I'm gonna elaborate on that though, for real, because I feel like, especially within like our culture, I feel like we use a lot of like materialistic things to measure our value.
Absolutely.
You know, and when you don't feel like value, like when you don't feel like you know the top, like the first thing that you want to do is buy you some clothes, buy you some jewelry, like you feel me, buy you these things that you feel like brings this instant validation. You know, so I was young, really looking for instant validation, because I was just making some big girl choices, you know, at an age where I was really just transitioning into my adulthood, you know. So she right, like I used to be coming here straight out about stuff. I'm like, I don't care, like I'm about to go buy me this, I'm about to go buy me that, I'm about to go buy me this. And then I actually learned within my first year of therapy that there are really things in the world that money just can't buy. Absolutely. Like, they can't buy you real friends, they can't buy you support, you know what I mean? They can't buy you, you know, people that just check on you for no reason, you know, like, it really is things, you know, that, like, money has absolutely no value, you know, and you'll acquire those things along your journey, though, you know, as you're working, and, you know, really just, like, doing the work, and, you know, just making sure that you're acknowledging the things that matter, like, you will find those things, and before you know it, you're gonna be rich before your check touch down. For real, because I'm already rich. You know?
Big print.
So she was absolutely right. Like, she was right. Like, I was definitely young, and you know, like I said, just looking for that instant validation. And as I've grown, you know, I just realized that, you know, the real luxuries in life are not always tangible. And so I'm glad
I'm so proud of Ms. Pope, and you always have me to express today. And like I said, taking advice and doing the work. Not asking for a hand to be held, but asking for information. And that's what today is about. People need information. And I'm actually becoming emotional watching her do that.
she be on the phone crying. crazy. We crying together. Like milestones, for real. Like, she done seen me through some stuff. Absolutely.
And it's so hard to get this information out, that the work does work. If you work the work, it does work. So let's change the story. What we're gonna, in the beginning, before you got here, you may have a story. I'm hoping now you can change your story. Will your story be different? And I say that because we have another speaker coming up, and I too met her about 3 years ago who had so much worth and value. So much worth and value she put into her child that I got doctors who don't even put that into their children. Lawyers. I work with the best of the best. I want to tell you, from Jersey Shore, I'm just keeping it real. From hedge fund, who kids are on everything. But this person, the reason why I love her story is I got people with wealth and couldn't help their child the way she raised a child. With a nickel and a dream. And her daughter is the bomb. And I don't give the daughter that much credit. I give the mother, Miss Ebony Crosby.
You got this, Mom. You're open.
I'm going to start with a quote. Every new day that is granted allows me to know that today just might be the day of breakthroughs, greatness, abundance, and new possibilities. So keep going. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Ebony Crosby, aka Life Coach, aka Overcomer. And over the years, and currently I have battled with mental health disparities. Today I'm going to tell you some of my real life experiences and how every day I make choices to overcome despite what I've been through. I'm going to call this an optimistic outlook on independence. At the age of 22, I moved out of my parents' house to gain independence and find my own way. I rented a 1-bedroom apartment east side of Buffalo, $300 monthly for rent. So go tell your landlords to make and I worked at an after-school program part-time while receiving partial government. And my social life was pretty good. I had a good life. I went to clubs. I loved dancing with my friends. We did karaoke nights. And I hung out with my family and friends. And I attended church on Sunday, and I did some casual dating before there was Netflix and chill. There was buffets and dollar movies. So, needing better financial stability, I decided to roll into college and apply for medical assistance. I wanted to mold myself towards a more productive future. I also applied for employment at General Motors. Life was promising at the moment. And then everything changed abruptly. I'm going to call this the pivotal moment. I'm going to say pivotal, and I'll define that. A very important critical shift in direction, new perspectives, opportunity towards change. I had to pivot because at the age of 24, I sustained a gunshot wound that shattered my right femur bone, leaving a large open inches above my kneecap. I was hospitalized in serious condition. I had blood transfusions and emergency surgery. I had to have a metal rod and plate screws inserted into my fractured leg, and I had to use a wheelchair. While I was hospitalized, my father fell into a coma, excuse me.
Take your time. Take your time. Take your time. You got it.
Yes.
You got it.
While I was hospitalized, my father fell into a coma, and he was hospitalized at a different hospital in critical condition. My mother had owned a family daycare and she was devastated, trying to figure out which hospital she was going to attend for the day. Nevertheless, I left the hospital against medical advice, full of worry, fears, and paranoia. I got on my Tupac. I was gone. I had to move to my grandmother's house. I lost my apartment because I could no longer utilize the stairs. I had to quit my part-time job, and I had to withdraw from college. I had a callback from General Motors. At the time, there were answer machines, and I realized I heard that I had an issue, but I couldn't do a follow-up. My social life had completely ended as I knew it. I wanted to give up so bad. Losing a part of yourself in that way can cause grief, and I felt sorrow, anger, sadness, uncertainty. I didn't know what I was going to do next. Nevertheless, a crisis is a great opportunity to see what you are made of. Although I was damaged, I was not ready or completely ready to succumb to my circumstances. So I'm going to call this acting and applying the essentials while coping with physical and mental challenges. Realizing that I needed the proper medication, medical advice, and assistance, I locked in. I went to my ortho clinic appointments regularly. I saw a psychiatrist, and I was clinically diagnosed with depression, post-traumatic stress disorder, and mixed anxiety. It took me a few years to even understand what that meant, because most African Americans' families do not discuss mental health issues. But knowing was half the battle in my mind. I started physical and occupational therapy to learn how to walk. My therapist was amazing. I used music, my parents' and grandparents' prayers to inspire me. Also, that fire that was inside called inner strength allowed me to persevere. I continue to move by faith, and I'm called this, a winner is a loser that keeps trying. A winner is a loser that keeps trying. And I kept trying, and so that's why I would say I am an overcomer. Within a year of injury, I started walking again. Range of motion limitations, permanent limp, and on again, off again, swelling and pain. But I just was so happy to walk. I gained a relationship, and within that relationship, I got pregnant, and I had a surgical procedure called a cyclage. That was to hold the baby into the womb, because prior to, I had stillborn twins and several miscarriages. At the age of 26, I became a mother of a beautiful, healthy baby girl. And she was a great distraction. Although I continued to struggle with physical and mental challenges, I kept those hidden from her. I didn't want her to feel the chaos in my mind. I am a dedicated single mother that didn't want my daughter to experience my misfortunes. I did everything in my power with a fixed income. I made sacrifices. I invested into community summer programs for her every summer, summer musical programs, advanced learning programs throughout her childhood. I just simply didn't want her hanging out on a corner or with kids in the community, wasting her time. I wanted her mind to be expanded in ways that I didn't have the capability, maybe at times, to do, but I knew there were programs out there. So I saved my money up. I knew it would be $150 to $175, so I saved $25 per month to make sure that I can get her enrolled into those programs. Today, my daughter is 25 years old, and she has 2 college degrees, one from the University of Buffalo for African American Studies and a minor in psychology, and she has one from ECC College and is currently serving as a registered nurse. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Statistically, I was not supposed to defeat the odds.
That's right.
As a single black mother, low income, victim of gun violence,
That's right.
in a low poverty, lived in a low poverty area, and I could have self-medicated to cope with all the pain and became a drug addict and alcoholic. But instead, every day I tried to be okay, even when I wasn't. I'm going to say, quote, over a year ago, the impeccable Rana Ryan said to me, you could have stayed in that wheelchair and asked a family member to go get you a 5th of gin and completely gave up on yourself. But you got up, you pushed through, and so you are a success story, Ebony. That was a pivotal moment for me to have a breakthrough. I started my journey of healing. I believe that God has continuously strengthened me and has shown me grace, mercy, and faith throughout the face of adversities. So in return, I chose to turn my